work the map. We need mid control. You want to have on defense, you want to have like an aggressive side. Like Yoru is really great because he can just walk up with his TP and get up on a good angle, right? Or Jet, the same thing, could do that as well. Find something to aggress when you're on defense. That could be A main, like with Tejo Mollies here. This is really great. Tejo Mollies in an Asher Smoke. This is a great way to contest A main. You see this a lot. We could contest A main. We could contest mid. We can send a Yoru or a Jet up B main. We could have an op on B main, right? We want to do something, and then wherever we're not aggressing or we have very few people, like only one person, that's where you put your Vyse. So it's risky to go there. And then A, if you try to go A, and say you get stuck here, someone could come around you here. So mid's very tricky, but if you have control of it, it's very strategic. It cuts down rotations on both sides dramatically. And one thing about Pearl is like if you have everyone in the mains, like you have people all in this area or you have people all in this area, and you get blocked, like say you get blocked by like a Vyse wall. Because Vyse is in the meta, so you're gonna run across a lot of Vyses. They could stack. They could also they could take an angle like this where they contain your rotate, where they like get info on if you're rotating. It's this map especially, it's very hard. Like if you try to 5-man one of these mains, if it doesn't go your way and you get delayed, the enemy team can rotate and it takes you a long time to retake all this space. Most of the time you want to have some sort of mid presence so you don't give this up like on attack. Same on defense. You don't want to give all this up because like we said, it takes you a long time to rotate back and forth. So mid is very crucial, but it can be very difficult to play. Let's look at a round.
Yeah, again, similar exchange going to be thrown from the utility, but the difference now is Winthrop have played aggressively through B. And in terms of trying to respond to a dimensional drift, if it were to come through at A, they're just backing off. So this is going to be one of those rounds where Winthrop are really hoping that they either catch contact in an unexpected angle here through mid or at B long, or that you just play for retake at A. You just allow this hit to come through if you assume that a dimensional drift will be used on the execute.
Sim just going to walk into this? No flash afforded? Nope.
I cannot believe that.
Yeah, that's a little confident.
I mean, you've
Fully
got
walk back out. Infiltrator's right in front of the shear. Is he gonna cross it? No way.
I mean, you've got 4 members there that could do anything. You could even just place a star and then recover it for a short fuse nebula just to try to get an angle. But instead, we're trying to peek quickly, and that's an immediate punish. And now Winthrop, with this push up through B main, they know for a fact that they could stack heavily over towards
left.
A. 2 stars in place, just in case they need to delay a little bit longer to get the Vyse in play. Nightfall will be called out immediately. Salvo behind it. Nova Pulse also to the backside of the site, but again, the razor wires are there, and Moops is still holding a corner. I mean, there's no entry. Now time's becoming a bit of an issue here. You gotta go if you're TSM, and I don't even know how you get into site here. It's still being contested. They will commit on for the plant. The spam on the counter starts to come through, but the spike planter does get taken care of. Nasi with 2. More information and damage on the more.
One thing I noticed was they like first like at the beginning of the round they pushed A main just to insert Astra in there because she has global util and just hold the control.
Yeah. So you can kind of see that here. You also see like A is being contested really heavily early. That's very common. Like we just came off of Lotus, and Lotus we were contesting A main a lot. And the same can be said for Pearl. It's usually how it's done is like you contest this A space, try to get control of this orb, and then you have like your B lurk covered with a trip, and then you have somebody just holding mid for info. So you'll see this very common. Teams will fight for this A orb, and the ones who are winning it, they get a nice free orb, and they can pressure an A hit. And if they don't want to actually commit there, you're right, they can leave somebody there, just insert it. So good. Pearl used to be a map not too long ago, like before Vyse really, where you could just run it down on B. Like if the enemies didn't have good delay, you could literally just run it down B for free a lot of times. But now that Vyse is in the game, it's very punishing. Like I said earlier, it can be very punishing to try to force it through a main and you run into a Vyse wall, and then that gives ample time for the enemies to rotate and to flood sight, right? So you'll notice that Pearl at the high levels is played very default, but if you do find a weakness, you do find a weak site, or you have like an Astra wall or something, right? Like I always say to pop this wall. If you have some sort of ultimate that can help you get on site, or you find a weakness, then you can rush those sites. But typically, like if a team is playing well with their Vyse, it can be very, very hard to get through this utility. So you'll see these teams play very default. They're trying to, like we can see here, they're trying to trip the wall, right? They're jump spotting the wall. That's why Yoru is good, because Yoru, one, has fast rotates with the teleport, and he can trip the wall with his clone, right? So Yoru could be very valuable if you use him in like a more default way. He does get totally destroyed there, but you could see like they're gonna pivot here and go to trip the wall. So very interesting. Another thing you notice here is like Astra will always have these stars here for A. Like this is a really good way to smoke and pull, right? And this is usually how it's played. So there's some common tendencies on this map, but with this current meta, just the thing you have to keep in mind is like if you're up against a Vyse, your goal is to like figure out where she's playing, trip out that wall in like a default, and then you try to hit the weak site. Okay? And if there is a hole in that defense, you can abuse that by just rushing it, by just going in and rushing it, overwhelming with util. Like, Tejo is really good with his mollies to overwhelm a space. Usually you run like a double initiator, so like Fade and Jet or Yoru coming in overwhelming sight. And then it goes into post plants. So I'm keeping it pretty loose here as to what strats are going to do, because it's going to be different, and you guys just need to be able to adapt yourselves. Again, you can just kind of see here, like the vines, it's just really hard to actually hit a site when you have a good Vyse that can throw up these vines and stop you. Like Vyse is just undeniable utility. Like you cannot just run through vines or you're just going to get destroyed. You know what I mean? So you have to find a way to bait that out, or go wherever Vyse isn't, right? Or bait it out and then hit where Vyse is. Like you can do that as well, right? The round starts. Like I can literally, this is what I do in ranked all the time. I'll like throw that on A, and then I'll run over to B, and I have so much time where I can have a util on A, I can have a wall on B, right? Like you could throw, like here's a good wall for you guys. Go like this. Come on. Boom. Throw your other vines there, and then you can like, or you could throw your vines up here, whatever you want to do. You can like throw your util a lot of different places, right? Now, if your Vyse is getting overwhelmed, like they can't hold with the wall and spikes, then you probably want to dump your Vyse util more together. But the benefit of Vyse is like she can pop stuff across the map, right? You can pop stuff across the map and get value out of it. So, usually, like when we talk about where you place your sentinels, depends on this concept of seesaw that we've talked about before, where when you're on defense, you have your weak side, which is represented by this side of the seesaw, and then you have your strong side, which is represented by this side, right? And you want to put your sentinel kind of on the weaker side of like the part where you're not aggressing, okay? So let me take a step back here. Let me show you a setup here that you guys can do. Basically, like here's a basic setup I have where you have like the wall on B with spikes and flash, and then Vyse is kind of playing towards door, popping spikes whenever she sees someone. You have like Yoru going out for a pick, and it could TP out, and you have like an A aggro here. Like this is usually common. Like you're playing weaker on B, and then you're going more aggro on the other side of the map. And then like here, for example, we're going aggro mid, and then we're playing more passive on the mains. We're playing more like we're faking this aggression here. We have Teo Molly's faking the aggression, and we're going aggro mid. So you can see there's a strong side and a weak side. Whatever setup we do, like here, for example, we're going more aggro on the mains, and we're going more chill on mid. We're just putting our sentinel there because we are only putting one person there, so we just put sentinel utility. Like this wall here can watch art, and these guys contest the mains. So that's typically how you want to play defense. Identify where you're going aggro, and then you put your sentinel wherever you're not going aggro to like delay in that space.
Is a very passive setup through A at the moment, as there's 2 stars and a Razor in the way. Recoil going to be playing with his own Rose as well, just in case he needs the secondary flash. So in terms of what you want from a defensive setup, this is pretty perfect. Here comes the execute utility. Yeah, Razor Wire going to be a little bit of an issue, but the reveal is good, and Infiltrator makes good on that for the first Blood Armor. Also going to be Spectacle. Mon just steps into the site. Salvo pushing him around his touch, has to dodge a little bit of everything at the moment, and actually does stay alive through the Armageddon. Winthrop now all of a sudden had to deal with the reinforcements quickly on the way. Good flash over the top as Gamon and Sim connect for a couple more eliminations. Moob's trying to save things though, as him and Ash are working together, and they actually take one on the exit. As
You can kind of see how coordinated the util is here. We have like an eye coming in. This is a good spot to throw your eye, so take note of that. And what do we notice about like this hit? Like what happens to it? What happens to it here?
I think it's denied, like stalled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the jet on site right now.
Yeah, you see how important it is to have a duelist to make space here, like against a Vyse, or even like say this wasn't Spikes and this was like a Astra pull. It's the same thing. Like that's why just hitting a main outright can be risky, because if your duelist doesn't get the kill, like look at how much time GMD is able to delay here, and look at the rotates coming in, right? Like this push almost doesn't work because of this really good delay, and like look, the whole team's here now. Now it's just a firefight. So you got to see the importance of baiting out utility or identifying a weak part and then just hitting that weak part. A good thing also to look at here is like a lot of people don't know how to use Teo ult. I know we'll probably have a couple Teos in our teams here. This is a really good Teo ult, because like usually people don't know what to do about secret. Like what do I do here? But like something like this can clear out all of like this whole angle that you have to worry about. Because like typically what you do when you smoke the site, if you're just going out main, is you smoke here, and then you put like a stun here. But now like with Teo ult, you can just boom, clear out all of secret like that. Good example of how to rotate here.
Makes it hard for MIBR to post up there early. In fact, they're kind of confined to the middle of the map.
And you can see this is a really good smoke to throw if you're defaulting. Like even if you're not going there, like a lot of times people just hold B link from this position. And you can, if you throw this smoke, they have to have somebody connector, or they have to throw a util to contest this, or else they won't know if you're pressuring connector or not. So really good smoke here for all your controllers out there.
They're going to make the best use of it they can. Swift to insert Ospas into Link. Oh, potential tool against an array who opts to just retreat. Hey. 1-for-1 trade offer. Molly for Razorvine. MIBR will take that. Ospas is within
And then KJ places a trip here so this guy can watch. That's pretty cool.
striking distance. Look at the reposition here from Zekin. Oh, I like this setup right now from MIBR. They have Ospas inserted, and he has that trip, the KJ behind him, watching for a potential push from Link. So he can focus forward. MIBR can pressure towards A, and they can pivot back to Ospas into a B hit after trying to drag rotates. If the site is vacant, they can just go for a full execute here and let Ospas backstab. Elsewhere, though, might have to wait. Bang here. Cops. Oh, bang!
Okay, what do you guys think the issue is with this defender setup right now?
They're really, really passive.
Yeah, they're way too passive, way too scared.
No mid
They-
control.
They gave up mid. Say you lose mid, guys. What do you think is a good way to like get back space or get the advantage back, get the ball back in your court? What do you think a good strategy to do is?
Push
Use
one.
util.
Aggressive extremity.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could have this Yoru push up, right, and get info here. You could have, maybe we do like a late, like maybe this would have come in a little sooner, but like, you know, Astra and Tejo could like walk up Art or walk up main and try to get some kills, right? But if you're just playing back like this, like you can see they're all they have is like this space. Like it's kind of the worst of both worlds, where the rotates are long and you don't really have any control. So like you have to do something here, right? And MIBR, they're able to like totally take advantage of
Full
that.
execute here and let Ospas backstab. Here for Sentinels.
taking their time, but
30 seconds
that
left.
null command is now active.
You know, what is the plan? That null command is selling for MIBR that they're trying to get into A. They're pivoting back. We have 20 seconds left. Okay, Aspas, he needed that kill and he finds it.
Tekken was not ready for it. Completely caught off guard. Intricate rotations here for MIBR. And in the dying
Dangerous.
seconds of the round, they are going to have this plant.
It's dangerous to let the clock to win.
And you see, it's like, you know, just because they had map control, this round's just game over. You know, like they have a guy on A that's doing nothing, and it doesn't matter. You know, like it's, they have so much control here, they're just not even gonna try to even get any kills. So, so you can just kind of see the importance of map control there, in working the map. It's hard and it takes a lot of good communication skills, which is why we have our IGL class tomorrow. But you know, you can kind of see the value in that. So work the map. We need mid control. Talked about how you want to have on defense, you want to have like an aggressive side. Like Yoru is really great because he can just walk up with his TP and get up on a good angle, right? Or Jet, the same thing, could do that as well. So find something to aggress when you're on defense. That could be A main, like with Tejo Mollies here. This is really great. Tejo Mollies in an Asher Smoke. This is a great way to contest A main. You see this a lot. We could contest A main. We could contest mid. We can send a Yoru or a Jet up B main. We could have an op on B main, right? We want to do something, and then wherever we're not aggressing or we have very few people, like only one person, that's where you put your Vyse, right? And I'm going to recommend, guys, you choose Vyse over KJ because it's just, it's really good. It really helps you out. But yeah, so that's defense, and then attack, like we said, work the map. If you find a weakness, you can rush that weakness. But if you're getting shut down by a util, you need to bait that out and then either rehit or hit another site. This is what I recommend. You do Yoru, Vyse, Tejo, Fade, and Astra. Now, I want all of you guys to run Astra. If you're on a team, I want you all to run Astra this week. That's like the one agent I want you to pick. Astra's just the best controller in this map, the global utility, the wall. Super valuable. Super valuable. Now, the rest of this you guys can fool with. I think certainly if you don't have a comfortable Euro player, Jet is awesome. If you don't have a comfortable Vyse player, you can make it work with KJ. Now that the Tejo Mollies don't break KJ lockdown, you can use this ult, which is very strong, or this ult, or this retake ult. You can retake B with this ult perfectly, right? I think you could also do something like this works pretty well too when you retake A. So although I think Vyse is better, KJ is certainly a lot more viable now that Tejo cannot break the ult. So that works. And then instead of Tejo or Fade, you can run a Sova. Sova's pretty good as well. Run a Sova in here. And then another thing you can do if you want to run double duelist, you could run a Jet and a Yoru in place of like one of your initiators, right? Okay, let's talk post plants now. No, this was just kind of a lurk, but you can see like if they got shut down on B and this guy was up on A and had all the space in the world, so then the enemy team is able to rotate and look at what position he's in here.
Hold his space.
Look at this Vyse.
The question will be, yeah, can Winthrop actually safely get across this play through Flower? And now moves all of a sudden has given away his position. So TSM will be aware of this. They don't really have anything to use to clear the ground, though. They may have to use the Contra Divide. Armageddon going to be fallen. Infiltrator able to use that as a chance to catch GMD before he can rotate out. And I don't know, you may have lost an opportunity here to do much if you're TSM. They're just getting zoned away from being able to get a retake going at any form. Whoop's still on the corner. Help now for Infiltrator. And TSM are getting bullied here on the defensive side of this map.
Far too much of a hard.
So that was that just screamed confidence right there, I will say, from Winthrop. But you can see number one here, we can go aggro. That's like our first option. And by the way, this applies to like any map, by the way. Like your IGL, you have three options: aggro, site, or spam. Those are like your options. So let's look at what it looks like here. So like as we saw, we had like, and it doesn't matter what agents I put on here, by the way. You're never going to know what agents are going to be alive or in what positions.